This message found you for a reason, and it is not random. Take a moment and really let that sink in, because what you are about to hear is not something ordinary. It is not something you simply clicked on by accident. There are moments in life when heaven interrupts your routine, and this is one of those moments. You may have been feeling confused lately, like something is shifting in your life, but you cannot fully understand it. You may have been praying quietly at night, asking God for a way out, asking for a sign that things will finally change. And even when nothing seemed to move, you kept holding on. I need you to understand something very deeply. Right now, you are not forgotten. Even if your situation looks delayed, even if doors have closed, even if financial pressure has been heavy on your shoulders, heaven has not overlooked you. There is a reason you are hearing this today. There is a reason your heart is being stirred as you listen, because something is coming, and it is connected to this coming Monday. I know that may sound simple at first, just another day of the week, but in the spiritual realm, timing is never random. God does not move without purpose, and when He decides to release something into a person's life, it often comes at a moment they least expect it, but most need it. You have been in a season where you have had to stretch every dollar, where you have had to think twice before every decision, where you have felt the weight of responsibility, but the lack of resources to match it. And maybe at times, you wondered if things would ever change. But hear this clearly. Your struggle is not your ending. There are moments when God allows pressure, not to destroy you, but to prepare you, because what He is building in you is stronger than what you are going through. And right now, even though it does not feel like, something unseen is aligning in your favor. This Monday carries a spiritual shift for someone who has been faithful in silence, for the one who kept believing even when nobody supported them, for the one who prayed without public recognition, for the one who kept going even when everything said, give up. This is for you. There is a financial breakthrough that is being positioned ahead of you, and I need you to hear this not as fantasy, but as a message of alignment, because breakthroughs do not always come with noise. Sometimes they come quietly, through unexpected doors, through sudden opportunities, through divine timing that no one can explain. And what makes this moment different is that it is connected to obedience, timing, and faith colliding at once. You may not understand everything that has happened in your life up until now. The delays, the losses, the closed doors. But heaven understands the full picture. And what looked like delay was actually preparation. What looked like silence was actually formation. Because God never releases increase into a life that is not ready to carry it. And you, yes, you, have been in preparation without even realizing it. There is a level of strength you now carry that you did not have before. There is a level of patience, endurance, and faith that was formed through every tear you did not show anyone. And now, that preparation is meeting divine timing. This is why your spirit feels different today. This is why you cannot fully ignore this message, because something in you recognizes that a shift is near. But I must also tell you, not everyone will understand what is about to happen. Some will miss it completely. Be because it will not come in the way they expect. It will not look dramatic at first. It will not announce itself loudly. But it will be real, and it will be life-changing for those who are aligned with it. This Monday is not just another start of the week. For someone chosen, it is a turning point. A moment where what has been stuck begins to move. A moment where what has been delayed begins to unlock. A moment where what has been empty begins to receive. But even now, I am only allowed to reveal part of what is coming, because there is a process unfolding that requires faith before clarity. And sometimes God reveals things in layers, not all at once, so your belief can grow stronger than your doubt. If you are hearing this and your heart is stirring, do not ignore it. That stirring is not emotional coincidence. It is recognition. Something in you is responding because your spirit knows you are in a moment of transition. You have been praying for financial breakthrough, but what is coming is deeper than just money. It is a repositioning. It is a shift in direction. It is a moment where things begin to connect in ways you did not plan, but were always meant for you. And even though I cannot show you the full picture yet, I can tell you this with certainty. Monday is not empty for you. It is assigned, and what is assigned cannot be stopped by what has delayed you before. So stay alert. Stay expectant. Do not let disappointment from the past block your perception of what is being prepared now, because something is already in motion, even if you cannot see it yet. And what is coming this Monday is not what most people expect. Your financial struggle is not a punishment. It is a process. I need you to hear this slowly, not with fear, but with understanding, because so many people misinterpret their season. They think lack means rejection. They think delay means abandonment. They think struggle means they are forgotten. But for a chosen one, nothing is ever wasted. Your current financial struggle is not evidence that God has left you. It is evidence that something deeper is being formed inside you. Something stronger than comfort. Something stronger than easy success. Something that cannot be destroyed when pressure comes again. Because if everything came easily to you right now, you would not recognize the value of what is coming next. There are seasons where God does not just give, He builds. And building seasons are not comfortable. You may have noticed something strange in your life. You work hard, but results feel delayed. You try again, but doors take longer to open than others. You see others move ahead quickly while you feel stuck in the same place. And in those silent moments, comparison tries to attack your faith. But listen carefully. Not every fast success is divine success. Chosen ones often go through hidden financial pressure because their foundation is being tested, not to break them, but to strengthen them for what is coming. Because what is coming into your life is not small, and small minds cannot carry big blessings. There is a reason your path has felt heavier than others. There is a reason you had to learn patience in ways people around you never understood. There is a reason you had to sit in waiting seasons where nobody clapped for you, nobody checked on you, and nobody saw your silent battles. That isolation was not rejection, it was preparation. Sometimes God separates you, not because you are unloved, but because He is protecting the process. There are blessings that require isolation before manifestation. Because if too many voices are around you in your shaping season, confusion enters the process, and confusion can delay clarity. So you were hidden, not forgotten. You were silent, not stopped. You were waiting, not abandoned. And yes, the financial struggle you feel has a deeper spiritual layer, because every time you felt not enough, something inside you was being trained to depend less on circumstances and more on faith. Every time you had to wait for provision, something inside you was learning patience beyond logic. And even when it hurt, it was shaping your endurance. Chosen ones often walk through seasons where support feels distant, where encouragement is rare, where answers are slow. And in those moments, it feels like heaven is silent. But silence is not absence. Silence is construction. Because what God is building in you cannot be rushed by emotions. It cannot be forced by pressure. It must be formed through time. And that is why your financial journey has felt different. Not because you are cursed, but because you are being prepared. There is a kind of strength that only comes from waiting, a kind of wisdom that only comes from lack, a kind of humility that only comes from being broken down and rebuilt again. And you have been living that process without even realizing its purpose. Even your emotional isolation had meaning. There were moments you felt like no one truly understood you. You tried to explain your struggles, but words were not enough. You tried to reach out, but people could not fully feel what you were carrying inside. And so you learned something powerful: how to stand alone without breaking. That is not weakness. That is spiritual training. Because the next level of your life will require stability that does not depend on outside validation. It will require peace that does not collapse under pressure. It will require faith that holds even when nothing makes sense. And that is exactly what has been forming in you. You may have thought your waiting season was a pause in your life, but it was actually a preparation zone, a place where God was strengthening your identity before increasing your responsibility. Because increase without identity creates destruction, but increase with preparation creates stability. And you are being prepared for something you cannot yet fully see. That is why the struggle has felt long. That is why the delay has felt heavy. That is why the silence has felt deep. Because what is being prepared for you is not ordinary financial relief. It is a shift in your entire direction. And even though you do not see it yet, things are aligning behind the scenes. Opportunities are forming, paths are opening, connections are being arranged in ways you did not plan. But before all of that becomes visible, your faith is being tested one last time. Will you still believe when nothing looks different yet? Will you still trust when answers are not immediate? Will you still hold on when your emotions try to convince you otherwise? Because chosen ones are not defined by easy seasons. They are defined by how they stand in hidden seasons. And your hidden season is not random. It is sacred. It is shaping something in you that will make sense later. And I know it is hard to understand right now. But sometimes God delays what you want, so He can deliver what you truly need. Not just survival, but transformation. Not just relief, but elevation. Not just change, but purpose. And even now, as you are hearing this, something in your spirit is quietly shifting. Not loudly, but deeply. Because part of you already knows this season is not permanent. You are closer than you think. And what you have been calling delay, heaven has been calling development. But what if your delay was actually divine preparation for something massive? Heaven has already scheduled your breakthrough. And I need you to pause for a moment and really let that settle into your spirit. Because what you are waiting for is not floating in uncertainty. It is not lost. It is not forgotten. It is not dependent on luck or chance. It is already scheduled. In the unseen realm, nothing is random. Every season has timing. Every delay has structure. Every breakthrough has an appointed moment. And even when your life feels delayed, heaven is never late. It is only precise. You may have felt like things should have changed by now. You may have expected answers sooner. You may have thought, why is it taking so long? But what you don't see is that divine timing does not follow human urgency. It follows divine preparation, because if something arrives before you are ready to carry it, it becomes a burden instead of a blessing. And God will never release something that will destroy you just to satisfy your impatience. That is why chosen ones often experience what feels like delay, but is actually alignment. There is a moment when everything changes, slowly, not gradually, but suddenly. And this sudden shift is what many people misunderstand. They think breakthrough is random, but it is not. Breakthrough is pressure meeting completion. It is the moment when unseen preparation finally manifests in the physical world. It is when everything that has been building beneath the surface suddenly becomes visible. That is why it feels sudden when it arrives, because you only saw the waiting, not the work happening in silence. You only saw the delay, not the development. You only saw the struggle, not the structure being built underneath your life. And then one moment changes everything. One door opens. One opportunity appears. One connection aligns. One moment of clarity shifts your entire direction. And people around you will say, it happened overnight. But you will know it took everything you went through to reach that moment. This is how divine timing works. It compresses years of preparation into a single moment of manifestation. And for many chosen ones, that moment comes after long silence, after emotional isolation, after financial pressure that tested your patience more than your strength. Because God does not just prepare the blessing, He prepares the person receiving it. And that is why the waiting feels so personal. Because it is not just about what you are waiting for, it is about who you are becoming while waiting. Now, listen closely, because this is where the message becomes even more specific. This Monday is not just another date on a calendar. It is symbolic of transition. It represents the start of movement. After stillness, it represents the breaking of cycles that have repeated in your life for too long. It represents the shift from nothing happening into something is finally happening. Not because Monday itself is magical, but because timing in the spirit often aligns with natural markers to signal change. And for someone hearing this, Monday marks the beginning of what you have been praying for. But it will not begin in the way you expect. Because God rarely announces breakthrough in advance. He reveals it in moments. He releases it in steps. He unfolds it in ways that only make sense after it happens. That is why faith is required before clarity. Because if you could fully see it beforehand, it would no longer be faith. It would be calculation. And God is not building calculators. He is building trust. So even now, while you are listening, something is shifting in the background of your life. It may not be visible yet. It may not be obvious yet, but alignment is already taking place. Things that were delayed are beginning to loosen. Things that were blocked are beginning to move. Things that were silent are preparing to speak, and you will not need to force it. You will not need to chase it. You will not need to beg for it, because what is divinely scheduled does not require human struggle to activate. But I also need you to understand something important. Breakthrough does not always feel peaceful at first. Sometimes it comes with uncertainty before clarity. Sometimes it arrives in ways that challenge your expectations. Sometimes it disrupts your comfort before delivering your blessing. But it always leads to elevation. And for the chosen one, elevation is not just financial. It is spiritual, emotional, and directional. You are not just about to receive something. You are about to step into something. A new phase, a new level, a new alignment with what you were created for. And that is why the pressure has been so intense. Because pressure often comes right before release, just like a door that resists before it opens, just like a storm that clears before sunrise, just like silence that ends right before a message arrives. Everything in your life has been building toward a moment you cannot fully see yet, but heaven has already seen it, and it has already scheduled it. So even if your current situation tries to convince you otherwise, do not let visible delay cancel invisible timing, because what God has marked for you cannot be erased by what you have been through. And this is why your spirit feels different right now, because something is close. Something is aligning. Something is preparing to break through the surface of your life, and when it arrives, it will not come quietly. You are already seeing the signs, even if you don't realize it. And I need you to slow down for a moment and pay attention, because what I'm about to explain is something many chosen ones overlook right before their breakthrough arrives. It never comes with a loud announcement. It never arrives with a warning. It starts with subtle shifters, small churnal signals that something is about to move. And most people miss it because they are expecting something dramatic. But heaven rarely starts with drama. It starts with awareness. Have you noticed lately that your mind feels different? Even in the middle of stress, there are moments where you feel a strange sense of something is about to change. You cannot explain it fully, but it keeps coming back, like a quiet thought, repeating itself in your spirit. That is not imagination. That is alignment. Because before financial breakthrough appears in the physical world, it first begins in the internal world. Your thoughts start shifting. Your emotions start preparing. Your patience is tested again, but this time in a different way, almost like you are being held in position for something you cannot yet see, and that is one of the first signs. Another sign is unexpected discomfort. with your current situation. Things that used to feel normal suddenly start feeling heavy. The same struggles you tolerated before now feel different, almost like your spirit is no longer agreeing with your current level. You may not fully understand it, but something inside you starts saying, "This is not where I belong anymore." That is not frustration. That is transition energy. Because when breakthrough is near, your internal system begins rejecting. Stagnation. What once felt like survival now feels like limitation. What once felt acceptable now feels temporary. Even your patience starts feeling different. Not weak, but ready. And this shift is important, because before elevation, God often changes your internal tolerance for your current level. Then there is another sign: isolation. You may notice that certain people naturally distance themselves, or conversations become less meaningful than before. Not because of rejection, but because your season is changing. Chosen ones often experience quiet separation before breakthrough, because not everyone is meant to witness the preparation of your next level. Some connections fade, not because they are enemies, but because they are no longer aligned with where you are going. And at the same time, new clarity begins to rise inside you. You start seeing things differently. Decisions that once confused you now feel simple. Paths that once felt blocked now start revealing small openings. It is like your vision is being recalibrated. Even your reactions change. Things that used to trigger stress now lose their power over you. There is a strange calm that begins to form in the middle of uncertainty, as if your spirit already knows the outcome, even when your circumstances do not. That is another sign: peace before provision. Because when God is preparing to release something into your life, He often strengthens your inner state first. So when the external blessing arrives, you are not overwhelmed by it. You are ready for it. And then there are external signs too. Delays that suddenly start shifting. Small opportunities that appear unexpectedly. Random conversations that open new thoughts in your mind. Doors that were silent for a long time, beginning to respond again. In subtle ways, nothing fully complete yet, but enough to signal movement. And chosen ones recognize this phase if they are paying attention. It is the in-between moment, not the old season, but not yet the new one. It feels like waiting, but it is actually positioning. And this is where many people become impatient and miss the significance of what is happening. Because silence right before breakthrough is not empty. It is loaded. It is like the air right before lightning strikes, still but charged with energy you cannot yet see. You may also notice that your thoughts about money are changing. Instead of pure worry, there are moments of unexpected belief. Instead of constant fear, there are brief flashes of hope you did not force. It is not fully stable yet, but it is appearing more often. That is not coincidence. That is preparation, because your mindset cannot enter abundance while still fully aligned with scarcity. So the transition begins internally first, and even your dreams, your intuition, your timing instincts, they start becoming sharper. You think about something, and it shows up shortly after. You feel like avoiding something, and later realize why. You sense timing shifts before they happen. These are not random experiences. They are signals. Because when you are close to a breakthrough, your sensitivity increases, your awareness deepens, your perception becomes more refined, and even though everything around you may still look the same for a moment longer, internally, nothing is the same anymore. You are not who you were at the beginning of this season, and that matters more than you realize, because breakthrough does not only change your situation, it reveals the version of you that was prepared for it. And that version is already forming inside you right now. So if you are noticing these signs, the shifting thoughts, the emotional changes, the isolation, the unexpected peace, the sudden awareness, do not ignore them. They are not random. They are not coincidence. They are indicators that something is approaching. Something that has been building for a long time in silence, and the closer it gets, the more subtle the signs become. Until the moment everything finally breaks through into reality. But the final moment will change everything you know about your life. This is the moment your waiting season ends. And I need you to receive this with full awareness, not as emotion, not as hype, but as a spiritual confirmation that what has been heavy for you is finally shifting. Because there comes a point where waiting is no longer your portion and movement becomes your new reality. You have walked through a season where things did not respond quickly, where prayers felt unanswered, where effort felt delayed, where hope had to fight against silence. But that season is not your identity. It was your preparation. And now, something is changing. I want you to understand this deeply. Financial breakthrough is not only about money appearing suddenly. It is about systems shifting in your favor. It is about doors that were closed beginning to respond. It is about opportunities that were hidden becoming visible. It is about alignment between your effort and divine timing finally meeting in one place. This is what is happening now. You may not see the full picture yet, but movement has already begun. There are doors that have been closed for a long time that are now beginning to loosen. Not fully open yet, but no longer sealed. There are opportunities that once ignored you that are now being positioned to return. There are connections that will suddenly make sense in ways you never expected, and you will know it is God, because you will not have to force it. What was once difficult will begin to feel guided. What was once confusing will begin to feel clear. What was once delayed will begin to flow. This is how divine release works. It does not always announce itself loudly. Sometimes it starts quietly, like a shift in atmosphere you cannot explain, and then suddenly things begin to align faster than your mind can process. That is why you are being told now. Stay alert, stay open, stay expectant, because your waiting season is not just ending, it is transforming into a season of response. And I need you to understand something very important. What God is releasing into your life is not only financial relief, it is restoration of stability. It is rebuilding of confidence. It is healing of pressure you have carried silently for too long. Because chosen ones are not only given blessings, they are rebuilt through them. You may have felt like life has been slow, but in reality, you have been in development. Every delay shaped your patience. Every struggle shaped your strength. Every silent moment shaped your endurance. And now, that preparation is meeting activation. There are things that will start happening in your life that you did not plan. Unexpected conversations that open new directions. Unexpected opportunities that bring financial movement. Unexpected moments that redirect your path into something better than what you expected. And at first, it may feel unfamiliar, because after long waiting, movement feels unusual. But do not doubt it, because what you are stepping into is not confusion, it is acceleration. There is a reason you had to go through what you went through, because without that foundation, you would not recognize the value of what is coming. Without that silence, you would not appreciate the sound of doors opening. Without that struggle, you would not understand the blessing of ease. And now, ease is being released into your life. Not permanent struggle, but divine shift, not endless delay, but sudden alignment, not closed doors, but opened paths. And I need you to prepare your mindset for this truth. What is coming may not look exactly like what you imagined, but it will be exactly what you need, because God does not only answer prayers, He aligns destinies. So if you thought your breakthrough would come in one way, be ready for it to come in another, because divine timing often surprises human expectation, but it never fails. And even now, as you are hearing this, something is being activated in your spirit, a sense of readiness, a quiet confirmation that your waiting is not in vain, a subtle peace that things are about to shift. Do not ignore that feeling. That is not emotion. That is preparation, meeting timing. And I want to speak directly into your situation right now. Whatever has been blocking you is losing its hold. Whatever has been delaying you is losing its authority. Whatever has been holding you back is beginning to loosen. Not by your effort alone, but by alignment. Because when heaven decides to move, no limitation can remain permanent. And for someone receiving this message, this is your moment to believe again. Not because everything is already visible, but because everything is already in motion. You do not need to figure out every step. You do not need to force every door. You do not need to carry the pressure alone anymore, because your season is shifting from struggle to support, from delay to direction, from waiting to receiving. And when it begins, you will realize that what you thought was the end was actually the turning point. So hold on just a little longer, not in desperation, but in expectation. Because what is about to unfold is not small. It is not accidental. It is not random. It is release. And when release comes, everything begins to move at once. Opportunities open, paths clear, provision flows, and what once felt impossible begins to feel natural. That is what is coming into your life. And now I want you to respond with faith. Comment Amen if you receive this blessing. Stoskers for more messages like this. Because this is only the beginning of what is being revealed to you. This Monday, your life will never feel the same again.